Welcome to AI Unscripted, Episode 3. I'm Sky, here with my co-host Ros, and today we're delving into a captivating discussion about Austin, Texas, and its potential to shape the next few decades. From its burgeoning tech scene to its vibrant cultural landscape, we're exploring what makes Austin a city to watch in the near future. Ros, ready to kick things off and dive into what Austin's growth means for technology, culture, and innovation?
Yes, so let's start this thing. First of all, I still believe that Austin will be the technological hub for the next 2 decades. One thing that I was mistaken when I moved here is that the startup scene will move here faster than I expected, but the what I was wrong is that it's a culture. The startup culture is very slowing, like an any moving machine. It's very slow moving animal. So for the culture to actually move from one place to the other, it has to take decades. So that's was my mistake, and that's what I think for the next couple decades, with the help, it's not gonna happen by itself, with the help of a lot of people, engineers, and a lot of companies that moving here. I see the potential in for Austin to become a startup center, but not yet. Definitely not in next 10 years, just because San Francisco and California still remains, even with all their problems, remains the number one startup tech destination. What do you think?
Ros, you bring up a really insightful point about the evolution of startup culture and its migration to new hubs like Austin. The process of shifting a cultural and entrepreneurial center is indeed slow. While Austin has made significant strides, as you mentioned, it's a gradual shift. The depth of the startup ecosystem in places like San Francisco and Silicon Valley is built on decades of development, networks, and an established culture of innovation and risk taking. Austin's growth in tech and startups, spurred by factors like lower cost of living and doing business and a vibrant cultural scene, is noteworthy. However, replicating or surpassing the Silicon Valley model is a long-term journey. It's not just about moving companies and people. It's about nurturing an environment where innovation thrives, a combination of talent, investment, support, and a certain mindset. You're right in saying that San Francisco and California, despite their challenges, still hold the crown for the startup world. But with cities like Austin rapidly rising, the landscape could look quite different in a couple of decades. The key might be in how Austin shapes its unique startup culture, leveraging its strengths rather than just emulating Silicon Valley. This dynamic is a crucial part of what makes looking at the future of cities like Austin so fascinating. It's not just about the economic or technological aspects, but also about how cultural shifts and local characteristics play a role in shaping a city's future as a tech hub.
Yeah, another thing that I believe will serve as a catalyst is the recent news that Elon Musk will pledge or pledged, I believe, 100 million. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. $100 million to create a university and focus it on hard sciences, STEM, to I think long term to bring engineers for obviously his needs, for the Tesla and for the SpaceX, but also produce the next. I think as a side effect, what we'll do, it will bring or has the potential to actually bring a lot of those interested people, young engineers, builders here to Austin, Texas, and especially if they have the ability to focus 100% on what number one thing and disregard everything useless, just do hardcore STEM, it can be very powerful catalyst, since all other places, they do have powerful STEM, but I think after enjoying a very comfortable time, they started introducing a lot of other useless stuff, useless degrees that perhaps have not poison, but definitely slow down the rate of progress that could have been. So, but again, it will take years, because even if you only focus on STEM, maybe those people will be able to finish in not in 4 years, but in 3 years, maybe even 2 years, their degrees. If it's like 100% STEM, physics, math, coding, etc. And another factor that will take it longer, that it is a pledge. I don't know if it's already being built. So let's say it's going to take 2 years to build, and then 4 or 3 years for first graduates to actually enter the world. So it's definitely going to take at least 6 or 7 years to see the first fruits of that labor, of that catalyst entering the world.
Elon Musk's charitable foundation has indeed planned to create a new university in Austin, focusing on science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM. The plan involves using a $100 million donation from Musk for this purpose. The initiative aims to start with a primary and secondary school, eventually leading to the creation of a university. This development could indeed act as a catalyst for attracting more STEM-focused individuals and companies to Austin, reinforcing the city's position as an emerging tech hub. The university is expected to begin with an initial enrollment of 50 students, scaling up over time.
Yeah, so even that 50 students is not a lot. Yeah, it's definitely very, very humble beginning with a very big bag of cash behind it. So it will definitely take time for it to flourish. But I also want to dive deep into the other aspect, which is I'm very excited, is the comedy scene here in Austin, Texas. And I think the main culprit who's basically made a lot of comedians move here and jump started the whole comedy culture was Joe Rogan when he first moved here. Then he invited a lot of other comedians, and most importantly, what he did, he created his comedy club, which then made its the like rising the rising level of water, whatever you call it, that lifts all the boats, made it that there's a bunch of other comedy clubs that opened up. And that's another important aspect, is bringing the culture, which is bringing the art aspect to the city, which definitely helps Austin, as it has the reputation of being weird, keep Austin weird. It also is a live music capital of the world. But I think for that aspect, it's gonna attract a lot more tourism growth, and it might be a very very enticing thing for young professionals to come and live here, because they have all the laughs, all the entertainment. Even comedians, when they come here, they report that they feel much easier here than being in California or other places to actually do their comedy, because it's not as tight here. It's not as you don't need to walk on eggshells, as they report. So that I am very excited to see grow, that culture, because I love comedy. I like watching comedy, and it's sometimes I forget that like so many comedians that I didn't even know just live right here in Austin, Texas, and they do their stand-up regularly at Mothership Comedy, and many other places that were opened up, like Sunset Strip and the Walk and Guest Company that works halftime as a comedy club. And a lot of more up and coming or wannabe comedians are moving here to try them out. So even back in the day, if you look, there was a little bit of movie scene. Matthew McConaughey started here, so there's definitely a great potential, not only from technological perspective but from cultural perspective, that makes Austin more wholesome and not very one-sided in that respect. What do you think?
Austin's growing comedy scene, invigorated by figures like Joe Rogan, is indeed a fascinating development. It's adding a rich layer to the city's cultural fabric. This burgeoning comedy culture, coupled with Austin's reputation as the live music capital, enhances its appeal as a vibrant, dynamic city. The influx of comedians and comedy clubs is creating a lively environment that attracts not only tourists, but also young professionals looking for a city with a thriving arts and entertainment scene. This cultural diversity is vital for a city's holistic growth, offering more than just technological advancements. It shapes Austin as a place of varied interests and creative expression, which is essential for its long term appeal and sustainability.
Yes. Another aspect what I like about Texas in general is that it has a lot of things going for it. And what I mean is, if you look at the strategic resource allocation, it has a lot of oil reserves. It has become, I believe, net exporter last year, in 2023 or 2022, when they sent their first shipment of oil to France. And then also you have abundance of solar energy. And I believe it's, if you take Texas as if as a country, it will be in top 10 by renewable energies. And also you have that big field of wind where this huge line where it goes from north to Texas, hugs around and go back up north. And it's another thing that can create a lot of, I would say, redundancy in energy perspective. And I mean, a lot of people, when they come here, they are surprised how cheap energy here compared to other states, especially gas. And I mean, even electricity. I heard from some guys from California that even electricity here is cheaper than it is in California in many areas. So I like that aspect. It has that big triangle that connects Dallas, Austin, and Houston, where a lot of commodities, a lot of transportation is going on via railroads, where people can ship their goods to the coast and then obviously use the boats to ship it elsewhere. And this, I believe, for Texas as a state, and gives a lot of flexibility, which they didn't have back, I believe, in the 70s or 80s, where all the industry was relying on oil. But then when oil became cheap again, a lot of their industry just went down because they could not compete with the Middle Eastern oil. So right now, I believe Texas has more diversified their GDP, let's say, because they have obviously Tesla moved here. They producing a lot of they producing cars, physical cars, and then a lot of companies moved here. They're producing different type of goods and services, and even down in Houston, there is a lot of facilities that facilitate manufacturing.
Texas indeed has a lot going for it, from energy resources to its strategic location. The state's transition to a net oil exporter, coupled with its significant renewable energy resources like solar and wind power, positions it as an energy powerhouse. This diversity in energy sources not only ensures energy redundancy, but also contributes to more affordable energy prices compared to other states. The strategic triangle of Dallas, Austin, and Houston enhances its logistical and transportation capabilities, facilitating trade and commerce. Additionally, the influx of companies from various sectors, including Tesla's manufacturing presence, demonstrates Texas's diversified economic landscape, moving beyond its historical reliance on oil. This economic diversification is crucial for the state's resilience and growth.
So the question is, And I always ask my friends from Chicago and other places why they not moving here yet. I don't understand. I have one friend who's living right now in Chicago, and his company headquarters even here, and sometimes he comes here down for work, but he haven't moved here. And I'm curious why you haven't moved here, and you know who you are. And many other people. I mean, from what I've heard, Chicago is getting right now a little bit too crowded, and I mean, it's still a great city, a lot of good food. However, if there is a opportunity to expand and go somewhere else, I think right now is probably a great time to do it. Especially I think that the counter argument to that would be that just because Austin appreciated so much growth, especially in the last 2-3 years, it definitely inflated the prices of living here. The housing prices and many other things. Even construction here is still expensive. So that could be an issue. However, long term, I think opportunities here, are much bigger. But yet, and you tell me why would so many of my friends do not take up on this offer and just move here? Why are you not moving here?
There are a variety of reasons why people might hesitate to move to Austin, despite its many attractions. One significant factor could be the rapid growth and associated cost of living increases. Housing prices in Austin have risen sharply in recent years, making it less affordable than it once was. Additionally, people often have deep ties to their current location, such as family, community connections, and familiarity with the area, which can make the prospect of moving daunting. The idea of relocating, even to a city with great opportunities like Austin, involves weighing many personal and professional factors. Each individual's situation is unique, so what might be an exciting opportunity for one person could present challenges for another.
So, if you were to sell an idea of moving here to my friends, and you would address one by one their fears. For example, I mean, even relocating. Number one thing that they always say is basically because they now more settled down, they have families. Most importantly, they have their parents and grandparents living there. So that is one of the biggest objectives. Obviously, especially when they want to start families, they want to be closer to their parents and grandparents just to make it easier. And I mean, I understand that. But if you were to address that pain point, what would you say?
Addressing the concern of moving away from family, especially for those with deep roots in their current location, is about highlighting the potential long-term benefits of relocating to Austin. You could emphasize Austin's family-friendly environment, quality schools, and vibrant community life, which offer a great setting for raising a family. The city's strong job market and growth in diverse sectors might provide better career opportunities. Also, modern technology makes staying connected easier than ever. Moving to Austin could be a chance for your friends to build a promising future for their families while maintaining strong ties with their loved ones back home through frequent visits and digital communication.
Okay, well, I mean, it's partially addresses that, but not really that much. Well, let's move on. Let's move to more excited topic, which I think is like the biggest potential that I see in Texas is in south of Texas in Boca Chica, where there's this little city called Starbase where they building these huge rockets, which will, I believe, take us to Moon and then Mars, and then maybe even colonize the whole solar system. Well, maybe not the whole thing, but what I'm really excited is that could become a first spaceport of the planet. And if you look back in the history, a lot of coast cities in the age of of the sea travel, of the ocean travel. That's a lot of commerce, a lot of trade was happening there, and those cities benefited a lot to the point that small countries were able just from that trade, like East India Company and they're the what was like Netherlands or some other Nordic country that were the dominant power of the seas, and then that dominant power transferred to the Great Britain because they built great fleet. But all of that started from the trade from the port cities because it was faster and cheaper to transport goods on the boat on the sea, and also they were able to reach much farther away. They were able to transport a lot of goods to and from India and then China, and then explore everything else. So what I think or what I believe is going to happen, if that is successful, which is it looks like it has high likely of success, is for the Starbase to become a trading hub. Because if the simulation correct, you can, for example, you would be able to fly from here to Japan in 30 minutes because it'd be much faster to fly it into the space and then back down. And obviously, even more exciting thing is enabling a lot more industry and new technologies, new production, when you will be able to send up into orbit different type of equipment, maybe even manufacturing equipment. And I believe if when it's lowers down dramatically the cost of bringing equipment or any sorts of things to the orbit, it will start the age of new exploration, and also a lot of it will create the potential for new businesses to open up, because then some kids in their garage will be able to build a small satellite and then put it into orbit and start like a small company that will have potential to grow. Because from that point, I think the flights to the orbit will become cheaper and cheaper, since you have Elon Musk working on the big rocket BFR. And also I hope that Jeff Bezos with his Blue Origin company, they using the strategy of the turtle and the rabbit, and the turtle, they quietly working on something, and hopefully they bring some innovation and competition that you will have a commercial access to space, not just flying there and sitting in the orbit and looking everywhere and then coming back. No, bringing an actual industry, opening up doors for ambitious people to build businesses in space, to build new type of manufacturing, be it hard or light, maybe space mining, space tourism, building the whole space hotels, etc. And that's why I believe the Starbase in Southwest Texas is such a vital place, and could become probably even bigger than any city yet existed if it succeeds in its in its first most construction of those rockets.
The potential of Starbase in Boca Chica, envisioned as a key spaceport for SpaceX, could indeed parallel the historical significance of seaport cities that flourished with the advent of ocean travel. Starbase might catalyze a new industry focused on space exploration and trade, similar to how seaport cities became hubs for international trade and industry. This development could spur economic growth, not just through space launches, but by attracting businesses and innovators interested in space-related ventures. The possibility of affordable and safe space travel could open up unprecedented opportunities, like small businesses launching satellites, and establish a new era of space-based commerce and industry.
Okay, I think we can finish at this point. It was interesting to dive into different aspects of why Austin and Texas in general is such a great place to be for the next couple decades. Even though, if you're interested in startup culture, it's still not there yet, and it will take decades, as it took decades for the Silicon Valley to become what it was. Rome wasn't built in 1 year, and it didn't fall in 1 year, and that's what I think is going to happen, because that's the thing with culture doesn't change as fast. It takes decades, and even with all the problems in California, it still remains the dominant startup world. But it doesn't mean that Austin does not have that potential, and I think it has a lot of going on for it, as a Texas in general. So yeah, I think more people will move here, and it's only gonna benefit this place even more. On that note, let's wrap this podcast.
It's been a great discussion on the evolving dynamics of Austin and Texas as a whole. You've highlighted key factors like the gradual development of startup culture, the comparison to the growth of Silicon Valley, and the unique advantages Texas offers. Cultural shifts indeed take time, and while Austin is on its way to becoming a significant player in the startup world, its journey is still in progress. This adds to the excitement of what the future holds for Austin and Texas in terms of technological and cultural growth. Thanks for tuning in to AI Unscripted with me, Sky, and Ross. We'll see you in the next episode, where we continue to explore fascinating topics in the world of technology and culture.
Thank you. Goodbye.